see is not necessarily what you get in the Hollywood scene. We've seen this time and time again. And a perfect example of this is Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher was once the Hollywood sweetheart, stepping into the limelight in a role that got everyone, men and women alike, swooning. But Kutcher wasn't just amazing on screen. He spearheaded several philanthropic endeavors and was regarded as an angel. Although he was often at the center of some controversial issues, his good reputation successfully overshadowed it all. Ashton Kutcher could do no wrong. Now the veil has been lifted and Ashton's ugly horns are now visible. Some of the things he's been involved in would blow your mind. It all started when Christopher Ashton Kutcher was born on the 7th of February in 1978 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. A little surprise here is that Ashton was a fraternal twin. The story goes that Ashton's mother had gone to the hospital on the day of birth, thinking she was going to have just one child. But 5 minutes after Ashton was born, Michael, his twin brother, was also delivered. However, unlike Ashton, he weighed just 4 pounds and suffered from complications at birth, which later resulted in lifelong health issues like cerebral palsy, which prevented him from moving, maintaining balance, and posture was just the beginning of it. So growing up in their conservative Catholic home, Ashton always felt guilty for his brother's health complications and did everything he could to protect him, especially in school. Michael might have suffered mostly physical pain, but Ashton was carrying an emotional burden that didn't become obvious until 8th grade. That year, when they were both 13, Michael had suddenly developed flu-like symptoms, and upon examination, the doctors discovered that he had caught the viral myocarditis. This infection resulted in an enlarged heart that would require a transplant to survive. Michael was given 3 or 4 weeks to live if he couldn't get a transplant, and Ashton was devastated. Every day he watched his brother gradually slip away, and one day things took a huge negative turn. Michael flatlined. That moment was a life-changing one for Ashton. He considered sacrificing his own life so that his brother could get a heart. He told his father that he was considering jumping off the hospital's balcony so that his brother would get his heart. But his father dissuaded him, and luckily a transplant arrived and his brother survived. However, Michael's complications didn't end there. A few years later, he developed a blood clot and had to have open heart surgery. At this point, Ashton, who was in high school, needed an escape from the constant sad news at home, so he discovered his passion for acting. He once described this period as, "I didn't want to come home and find more bad news. I kept myself so busy that I didn't allow myself to feel." However, his passion for acting wasn't enough to keep him as busy as he desired. Inevitably, it led to delinquent behavior, getting into trouble in school and at home. In his senior year in high school, he broke into his school in a failed attempt to steal money. Unfortunately, he was caught and charged with third-degree burglary and sentenced to 3 years of probation and 180 hours of community service. For a moment, he stayed out of trouble and got into the University of Iowa to study biochemical engineering, but this only led to more unruly and questionable choices. He was even kicked out of his college apartment for being too noisy and wild. Ashton's wild life was not all negative. One day during one of his drinking sprees at the Airliner bar in Iowa City, a woman approached Ashton and asked if he had ever thought of modeling. As a 6'2" good-looking man, he decided he had nothing to lose and entered the Fresh Faces of Iowa modeling contest. To his surprise, he emerged as the winner, so he decided to venture into it full-time. He dropped out of school, became the face of Calvin Klein, and modeled in Paris and Milan. But after a while, he realized he wanted to be more than just a model, and he went back to his acting roots. Ashton heard about an audition for a comedic sitcom in LA during one of his modeling stints and decided to give it a go. He auditioned for 2 roles on 2 different shows, and luckily he got both roles. However, he decided the role of Michael Kelso in the television series That 70s Show was a better fit for him, which turned out to be a great decision as it catapulted to a stardom he could never have imagined. That was the beginning of a career breakthrough. His role as Kelso not only got him cast for other similar comedy films, which included Dude, Where's My Car, Just Married, and Guess Who, it won him the hearts of many. Nobody knew of his tumultuous past, so he got into the Hollywood scene as the Golden Boy. In 2004, he was cast in the drama film The Butterfly Effect. The film followed the story of a disturbed young man played by Kutcher who could time travel. This film was met with horrible reviews. However, because Ashton starred in the movie, it was a box office success. This same Ashton effect was seen when he replaced Charlie Sheen on the series 2.5 Men. His debut episode was seen by 28.7 million people, and it was reported that the figure was more than that of any episode in the show's first 8 seasons in which he wasn't featured. Yeah, People loved him. Besides his impeccable acting skills, Ashton further won the hearts of many through his many acts of philanthropy. In 2009, Kutcher and Demi, his wife at the time, established an international human rights organization known as Thorn, Digital Defenders of Children. It was created to curtail the sexual exploitation of children and to help eliminate the existence of child pornography on a global scale. Then in 2022,
for myself and my family. But today, I have never been more proud to be a Ukrainian. I've decided to match up to $3 million worth of donations to Airbnb.org and Flexport.org through GoFundMe.org in an effort to raise $30 million.
In 2019, Demi, Ashton's first wife, released a memoir titled Inside Out, and in there she shared the tales of her tumultuous upbringing, substance abuse, and the trouble she faced in the past. However, the aspect that really caught many's attention was the details about her marriage to the Butterfly Effect actor. She started by describing how much love and connection they had, despite their age difference with her being older. However, things began to take a turn when Ashton's youthful exuberance came to play. Moore explained that she had struggled with alcoholism and gotten sober before meeting Ashton. But when they got together, she lost all she had worked so hard for because Ashton didn't think alcoholism was a real thing, and she felt pressured to show him she could party like his peers. About 18 months into their relationship, Moore and Ashton were expecting a child together. Unfortunately, she had a miscarriage and it almost ruined her. She believed her constant drinking and smoking might have been the reason for the miscarriage. This dark spell led her to lean further into drinking, and the weight of it all was too much for Ashton. As the years progressed, Moore mentioned that Ashton became more distant and she found herself continuously trying to fit into the image of what he wanted his wife to be. So when he asked for threesomes, she indulged him, despite her skepticism. But her overindulgence turned out to be the beginning of the end for them. According to the memoir, all her efforts to save their marriage turned out to be in vain when Ashton allegedly sought comfort from women outside their marriage. His alleged infidelity would result in them going their separate ways after 6 years together. Lucky for Ashton, when they split in 2011, there was no mention of infidelity, and the reason stated was irreconcilable differences, so Ashton's reputation remained intact. However, once Moore's memoir came to light, a lot of fans started questioning who was Ashton Kutcher really. For example, what really happened in 2001 with Ashton's ex, Ashley Ellerin? In 2001, Ashton found himself in a tricky spot when he became a murder witness in the case of his ex-girlfriend, Ashley Ellerin. Ellerin was a 22-year-old fashion designer student who met Ashton through mutual friends. Both Ashton and Ellerin were newly single and had plans to go out the night she was killed. The night of her death was the evening of the Grammy Awards, and Ashton had invited her to an after party. The two spoke around 8:24 p.m. when Ashton told her he'd be running late, and she responded that she was just getting out of the shower. Around 10:30 p.m., Ashton allegedly arrived at Ellerin's home. He claimed to have knocked on the door, and when he got no response, he looked inside the house to see what he thought were wine stains, and then left. According to him, he thought she had gotten angry at him for being late and went out without him. Unfortunately, the next day, Ellerin was found dead by her housemate. Ashton heard the news and was afraid of being a suspect because his fingerprints might have been found on the door. So he reached out to the police to explain how his fingerprints got to her door, and he was cleared of all suspicions. Almost 2 decades later, her killer, Michael Gargiulo, was found, and Ashton served as a witness in the case. His actions would have been applauded if a woman called Chrissy Bixler had not revealed that Ashton was not completely innocent. Chrissy revealed that she had been with Ashton's co-star Danny Masterson on the night of the incident, and she had overheard the conversation they had. She alleged that Ashton had found Ellerin dead that night after trying to investigate the bloodstains he claimed he thought were wine stains. And after he saw the body, he panicked and called his PR team, who thought it was better for the murder to be reported by someone else to avoid being labeled as a suspect. Chrissy claimed Ashton had called Masterson to confirm if his PR team had given him the best advice, and the actor agreed. When the detail came to light, Ashton suffered a severe backlash. Many people were particularly furious because the murderer had gone on to kill other people before he was finally caught. It's believed that if Ashton had called the police immediately, they might have been able to track down the killer faster. Now, if you think that's bad, just wait, it gets worse. In 2017, Ashton's buddy Danny Masterson was accused of sexual assault during the height of the Me Too movement. He denied it, but the Los Angeles Police Department didn't stop investigating until they got enough evidence to charge him for the assaults 3 years later. Masterson's initial trial in 2022 resulted in a mistrial. However, in 2023, he was tried again and found guilty. This time, Ashton, alongside his wife, voiced out their support for Masterson after he was found guilty. They had sent letters to the judge presiding over the case describing Masterson as a good man and a role model, with the hope that his sentence of 30 years to life would get reduced. Not only was his actions extremely disappointing, but a huge mistake, because Ashton has often been regarded as a man who supported victims of assault, especially with him being the chairman of Thorn. On top of that, it completely diminishes these women's stories and what they went through. It's like saying they don't deserve justice and that celebrities or people of power can do whatever they want or should get special treatment. It was even more disappointing that the couple had sent the letters not knowing that it would become known to the public. I mean, come on, they should really know better by now.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse.
Ashton also stepped down as the chairman of Thorn, but that didn't prevent the other skeletons hidden in his closet from falling out. Chrissy Bixler, who also happened to be one of Masterson's accusers, shared even more ugly details about Ashton. She reshared a clip where Ashton was discussing Hilary Duff, who was 15 at the time, in an inappropriate manner. On his MTV show, Punk'd, he had mentioned that Hilary was one of the girls they were all waiting to turn 18. Chrissy also shared footage from the Rosie O'Donnell show in which Mila Kunis, Ashton's wife, stated how he and Masterson had a bet on how their first kiss on the show would be. The disturbing detail was that Kunis was just 14 while Ashton was 19. If all of that wasn't bad enough, when details about those associated with Diddy's infamous white parties came to light, Ashton was also on the list. During a 2019 Hot Ones interview, Ashton had been asked to share his experiences partying with Diddy. His response was, "I've got a lot I can't tell. I'm actually circling through them. Diddy party stories, man, that was some weird memory lane thing," hinting at the fact that he might have been mixed up in some of the illicit activities Diddy allegedly participated in. It is clear that Ashton Kutcher is no American sweetheart, and if you think about it, these are all the things he tried to hide, but the truth was eventually leaked. I can only imagine what else he is trying to keep under wraps. After all this, would you still be a fan of Ashton Kutcher? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one.